好，同学们，我们都在慌慌烈烈的站起来，站起来。Welcome to the 260th edition of China Now with your gang of two. Nan Su, who is the senior investigative reporter for Epoch Times, and yours truly, Michael Olson, who is a longtime China observer, once dreamed of going there in Chinese, of going to China, but was dissuaded from doing so by the great helmsman himself, Mao Zedong. Each week, Nansu and I look out across the broad expanse of the Pacific Ocean from our home port here at Santa Cruz, California, SantaCruzVoice.com, and we ask, China now, friend or foe, war or peace? Ni hao, Nansu.
Pretty good, Michael. Yeah, there you go again.
You've been a very busy boy this morning, haven't you?
Yeah, because the fourth plenum finished yesterday. I've been waiting for the official report from the CCP Central Committee. The report actually came out like about 3 o'clock in the morning here, our time.
Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the fourth floor forum, if I can say that, fourth forum at just ended in Beijing, which was to have been a very big deal for the People's Republic of China. Why? Because from our observation and the observations of many others, the PRC appears to be going through some very difficult times. Its economy appears to be collapsing. Its population is collapsing. Its agriculture is collapsing. And its Belt and Road credit capture of developing nations is collapsing as well. And so when its leaders get together in Beijing to announce the future, there is bound to be some contention in the ranks. Fortunately, our very own Nansu has been poring over the results of the fourth plenum, which ended yesterday, and I'll bet he will have some good news to share with us in the second hour of today's show. So we hope you all stay tuned. So you're up all night waiting for the report, weren't you, Nansu?
Yeah, because there was so many different rumors going around, and then I was asked to do a show very early in the morning. So I have to, make sure that I read the official report of from the CCP's Central Committee, so that I know what's going on. Then before I go I went to the show.
Good. And Nansu, as we've been talking about for quite some time, 260 shows, there appears to be a lot of contention in the ranks in the CCP, at least in the Chinese Communist Party, and throughout the country. So, was any of that contention reflected in the official reports from the CCP?
Not at all.
Not at all. Okay, everything went just right.
Well, everything went just right for the CCP. A lot of those rumors, they are in a good wish. They want
There
to
were
see
people
CCP,
wanting to see.
the CCP in trouble. They want to see Xi Jinping in trouble. That's why they float all these different rumors going around, but it didn't happen.
Nothing
So
happened. Okay.
yeah.
So, okay, but we'll have something interesting to see in that news.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to find anything interesting in press releases from the CCP because they always tell you only what they want you to hear.
Well, they tell you what you want to what they want to hear what they want you to hear from them, but also you can from the language they choose, you kind of like you can make a judgment about how they're going to move forward from here, right? So you know what's in their mind, what they want to do, from here. Because moving forward until 2027, that's the national conference. That's 2027. It looks like Xi Jinping won another term in 2027.
He wants to go for it again.
Yep.
I would suspect so because that's when he had planned on being ready to invade Taiwan, correct?
Yep.
2027.
2027, yeah, I'm not sure if they're going to be ready to invade Taiwan. And but like we mentioned before, I believe the only time they decide they're going to go start war with Taiwan, it's when things in China in mainland China out of control of CCP.
Ah, so what we have to watch for is when things get out of control for the CCP, which would mean that the population of China is rising up and threatening the reign of the CCP. That's when we're most likely to see an invasion of Taiwan.
Yep, yep. It may not be even a full invasion of the main island of Taiwan. I mean, as we talked about before, that what the CCP really want, it's an excuse so that they can trigger, they can activate the martial law and so that they can control the whole country, right? So they need something to trigger the activation of the martial law.
Would that be
Uh,
something like the Gulf of Tonkin incident that set off the Vietnam War?
well, it could be anything, but I doubt it's going to be a war against any other nation rather than Taiwan, because they have done ages, I mean decades and generations of brainwash. So basically, they make the Chinese people prepare to go to war with Taiwan. And that's why, they don't have to do any mobile, they don't have to mobilize anything. It's like people,
I
kind of ready. Anytime it happen, oh, yeah, it finally happened.
don't
Some of the
have.
people will say, yeah, finally happened. Some of them say, uh-oh, it's pretty bad. It doesn't matter, but people prepare. But if they want to start war with Vietnam or Malaysia, Indonesia, or something in this kind of a scale against maybe India, then they will have to do some preparation to make people prepare. Oh, that's what they're going to do, right?
Okay. So as we've been going into the fourth plenum for the last couple of months, there has been a lot of speculation on the outside press that Xi Jinping was in big trouble, that he has had all of his generals taken away from him. So obviously that there's big trouble in China. But none of that was reflected in the official release of the fourth plenum, correct?
Nope.
Everything's going just fine.
Yeah, superficially look just fine. And then I think that the reason people think of that way, or the people want to see things to happen that way, is just because they don't like CCP. So they purposely ignore some part of the facts.
Mhm.
So that's how things going around. Well, but at least you can see there was a lot of tremendous amount of tremendous number of Chinese people. They want to see this kind of news. They you know they make this kind of news spread quickly.
Right. Everybody wants to see the CCP in trouble, and the CCP doesn't want anybody to see it in trouble. And that's what we're looking at right now. Well, any indication at all then that there was no indication at all that there was trouble with the CCP, and that all of this hoopla we've been listening to about Xi being in trouble and this and that did not have any bearing on the conference itself.
Yeah, like I said before, the only thing so far, seems really going to be able to make Xi Jinping in trouble is his own health situation,
It's,
right?
which is, and for those who don't know, we have rumors that Xi Jinping has had 3 strokes
Yep.
within the last year.
Hmm.
And so
Of
that would
course, we
be
cannot verify those things. It's top secret,
a
right?
secret. Uh, so everybody speculates, and we all look for little bits of information to speculate on. And that's why we're fortunate enough to have Nan Su, who actually went through the official report which, like Nancy, I could never read Chinese political propaganda. When I was studying Chinese, even I was going to read the Little Red Book in Chinese, but I just couldn't read what they have to offer, and I
Well,
never could. I had to resort to the
the
Taoist
only
poets.
reason I read it was just because I have to go to the show to talk about these things. I have to read it. I have to
Yeah,
know what I'm talking
because
about.
you're our resident authority, because you're the only one that read the report. So okay, it's out there. Well, before we go there to the fourth, oh, one more quick question before we take off. In the last forum, I believe it was, Xi Jinping frog marched Hu Jintao right out the door. Nothing exciting like that happened this time.
No.
Oh,
Well,
bull.
they don't. Last time that was 2022. That's the national conference. When they held the national conference, that was the time they welcome media. But
Ah,
this time it's the central committee. It's a for the fourth plenum. It's the central CCP's central committee. It's a closed door meeting, so it doesn't have any foreign media present. So they whatever they do, maybe they did then, but
nobody
nobody's
would
gonna
know.
catch it,
Right.
right?
So this wasn't the huge auditorium filled with people that we
No,
saw.
no, no, no. This is just like about 300 people, somewhere maybe 350 people.
Okay, like
You
the
know,
creme de la creme of the Chinese Communist Party.
right, right. They have like about, like 60, 70 formal member, and then there was 160 members there on the waiting list.
Okay,
Uh,
and these
so
these people do get voted on, don't they?
yeah, they are all voted and selected by the national conference in 2022.
Who gets to vote?
The National Congress, the National Congress of, those the representative from all over the country, different part of regions, they select their Communist Party member. You
Oh,
know,
so
yeah,
they're all Communist Party members that get to vote.
yeah. Well, not really like what you think, like a democratic process. Usually, they will give the quota to different, say, you're the regional military command. They will say, oh, I like to have two quota, two people from representative from your from your unit, all right? You have and then you take that two tickets, then you're going to make a closed door meeting. You're going to say, hey, okay, it looks like one of the regiment, they're putting, or maybe one of the brigades. They have done things pretty good this year. Maybe you will give one ticket to them, or another ticket to the, a different, maybe a platoon or company or whatever, and then those groups, they will go, it's not really, you can't really nominate your own candidate. It's
Oh,
just
okay.
that kind of a process. So but eventually they will come up with like about 3,000 representative from all different regions of China, and then those people will go there, and then the Central Chinese Communist Party, they will give you the candidates, and then they will give you the candidates. Then you're going to vote on, and then you're going to the people who get the most of the vote, they will select maybe a couple hundred of them as the CCP Central Committee member, and then they will vote to select another. Yeah, and it all depends how many votes you get.
Sure.
Then you will the ones that's on the bottom, they will select like 150, somewhere between 150 to 200 members on the waiting list. It's just in case those former members they die or they have a health problem
Sure.
or they are corrupted, they are their positions being taken away or whatever. Then and then those ones on the waiting list that they will be able to go fill the vacancy, right?
But by and large, it seems like it's a closed loop, that it's people close or in or close to the CCP that form the decision making of the CCP.
Yeah. There
Have
is
you
a
have you
it's
ever seen any disagreement in these deliberations, or would you? I mean, if you think about how contentious our Congress is, or the British Congress or Parliament, uh, people don't agree. People disagree. Do they disagree like that in the conferences, or is it probably something they do behind doors?
Well, the usually very hard to see disagreements. It's because the half of the selection process is it's controlled by the someone on a higher place, right?
Right.
Always higher than your unit, right? So, kind of like a half recommendation, then half voted, that kind of a situation to make people select the grassroots representative and then go to the center part. And then they will have like then somebody, of course, from a higher place will bring a long list of a few hundred candidates and then let everyone vote. To select the ones they think it's qualified for the central committee member of the CCP. Then that's how the whole process is.
Everything's pretty well orchestrated and moving right along so as not to cause any concern, as they did, as Xi Jinping did when he frog marched Hu Jintao, the former premier, right out the door. And that was a big show of force in a major sort of way, was it not?
Yeah, it was true because the guy who was Hu Jintao actually selected one member for the Politburo under Xi Jinping's leadership, right? And so there's total 25 members in the Politburo, and then they and Hu Jin one of them was selected by Hu Jintao, and the rumor was that by the time they went to vote, and they found that there's only 24 members on the way on the candidate list, and the candidate recommended by the Hu Jintao was taken away from the list. So that's why he started, feeling not really happy, and that's why Xi Jinping won the staff member took him away.
Okay. Frog marched right out the door. It was one amazing scene, because whenever you look at these conferences, everybody, all of the delegates appear to be terrified of showing any kind of emotion whatsoever. So when the camera focuses on somebody, they're always looking at notes and writing notes down, but nobody ever smiles. Nobody
Yeah,
ever,
you don't know what they're writing. Maybe they're just drawing a little
yeah,
dog or a little cat on their paper.
yeah,
You
yeah.
never knew.
So, but they all look very studious and they all look very busy, and none of them look happy and none of them look mad. They're all just stone faced and sitting there as if I say something, somebody's going to throw something at me. I know it. So I'm just going to sit here and not let anybody know what I think.
Yeah, well, that's how the people, I remember when I was in high school, boy, I was a bad boy. I always do something, make myself into trouble. So then once, I was in trouble, then the teacher will say, "Oh, you're going to write something to criticize yourself," basically. So at the beginning, we would say, okay, we're gonna write something, really criticize myself, criticize. I'm going to go dig down in deep into my soul and find something really bad there. So I have to get rid of it, become a better person or whatever. That yeah, it's in the in the communist system. That's what they make you to do. But gradually, what I found out is everyone, and in that kind of situation, they're not serious. They don't care. So they don't really write anything. What they do is they go to you have a stage, podium in front of the whole class, and then what they did was they will just bring a piece of a blank paper. Then what they just very very low voice mumble it. Nobody can hear what they're saying,
Oh,
and then
really?
they just
Yeah.
they would just keep saying. Some of them just say those F words. Keep repeating for like maybe 10 minutes, and then they just walk away. So, but pretty much everyone is doing that. That's
But self-criticism really came out of the Cultural Revolution. And
yes.
it was a devastating weapon of humiliation. If you were from the landed gentry, if you owned a business, if you were from the bourgeois, or if you were a capitalist roader, then you had to stand in front of a crowd and really,
Oh yeah, of course. For those people, they are successful. They establish themselves. That's a tremendous of humiliation. But when they try to enforce this kind of thing to the elementary school and high school, nobody take that seriously. So so that's how.
yeah. Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to go to the news of the week, and we have some incredible stories. We're going to revisit the um, Xi Jinping's rare earth ban when he told Trump, "Not going to give you any rare earths." What happened then? Wow. We're going to talk about how the world is waking up to China's supply chain threat and how its control of vital nodes in the supply chain is a threat to the rest of the world. And then we're going to talk about a UN projection on China's population that I found to be absolutely stunning. So do stay tuned for those. We will be right back after these messages. With a little help from our friends, Santa Cruz Voice would like to rent or lease an office in Mid County or thereabouts for our hosts and their VIP guests to conduct interviews. We are looking for 200 square feet, give or take, with secure access, and are willing to share with an existing business that has an extra office to rent. If you know of such a space, please let us know at info@santacruzvoice.com. That's info@santacruzvoice.com. And thank you for being a friend.
Attention content producers. You can have access to a complete digital media production facility at Satellite Co-working and Digital Media Studio on SoCal Avenue. Easily rent video and audio equipment, a studio with green screen, editing suite, and audio booth, all at can't say no rates. Schedule a tour to see for yourself at satellitecoworking.com. Mention Santa Cruz Voice for 20% off your first reservation.
The wife says the boat's got to go, no problem. Storage at Anbar Self-Storage in U-Haul, easy off Highway 1 by the airport. 24-hour security for cars, boats, and RVs. Stored away at Anbar Self-Storage in U-Haul and Freedom.
You made the products, now you have to deliver. Anbar Self-Storage and U-Haul has the moving vans, shipping boxes, and packing materials you need to deliver them. Easy off Highway 1 on Airport Boulevard by the airport. Anbar Self-Storage and U-Haul in Freedom.
Get hooked up with affordable cannabis at your neighborhood Hook Outlet dispensary. We have locations in Santa Cruz, Capitola, and Watsonville. At each Hook Outlet, you will find unmatched low prices on the Hook's unparalleled selection of top quality medical and recreational cannabis flower, vapes, drinks, gummies, and concentrates. The Hook Outlets are Santa Cruz County's best source for the finest cannabis at the lowest prices. See for yourself. Stop by any Hook outlet and say hi. We'll see you there. hookoutlet.com.
你好吗？我们回到来的，我们是中国现在 China now. Friend or foe, war or peace? That's the question always on the table. What do you think, Nansu? China now. Friend or foe, war or peace?
Well, China is definitely our enemy. No question about it.
In most all respects, too, when it gets right down to it, or so it would seem to me. As a matter of fact, I don't think China and the US can coexist in the world. It's kind of like matter and antimatter. They're just that different. But so where does that take us? Well, who knows? Last week, we talked about Xi Jinping coming out with a new licensing arrangement for rare earths. What are rare earths? They are the 17 elements at the bottom of the periodic table of elements. Nobody really knew what to do with them for quite some time. But back in 1950, the United States was looking for 50s, were looking for uranium. And they were looking down in Southern California, San Bernardino County, out there in the desert between LA and Las Vegas. And they came across a deposit of some really weird looking elements that happened to be rich in rare earths, those 17 elements down there at the bottom of the periodic table of elements. And they didn't know what to do with it. But one of the elements, I think it was barium or something like that, one of the elements turned out to be the magic rare earth element that put color into color television. And that was a pretty cool thing. On all of a sudden, we had a rare earth industry at the Mountain Pass mine just off Highway 15, and it became the richest place on earth for rare earths. But over the years, we somehow let that mine and its technology and its rare earths go to China. And now China owns 90% of the rare earths in the world for sale. And these rare earths not only put the color in color television, but they make possible all of our modern electronic technologies. And in the dispute between Xi Jinping and Donald Trump, those rare earths became a weapon of commerce, of trade. And Xi Jinping came out one day, and this was right before the fourth plenum, just a week before the fourth plenum, and they hardened the access to those rare earth elements and told the world you can't use these rare earths from China in anything you make without having a license to do so from the CCP. What did Donald Trump do? Immediately instituted a 100% tariff on everything from China. I think it was an additional 100% tariff, wasn't it, Nansu?
Yeah, it's additional 100% of tariffs on everything from China. That's what Trump did, which is pretty good, I thought. Why
Well,
not?
it was an immediate counterpunch, as it were, to Xi Jinping's haymaker. Pow, pow, just like that. And that was right before the fourth plenum, which was very interesting. It set off a lot of speculation in the world of speculators that something really big was going to happen. But at any rate, temperatures flared, statements were made, but then didn't take too long. This from MSNBC here. China's Ministry of Commerce clarified that the recently announced rare earth export controls, which triggered a sharp backlash from US President Donald Trump, are not an outright ban. Trump viewed the new rare earth controls as a violation of an earlier agreement that led to a trade detente between US and China, and he threatened Beijing with an additional 100% tariff in retaliation. So it appears as though the CCP is trying to walk back this ownership or this embargo of rare earths. Nansu?
Well, CCP, I don't know what they're trying to do because, it looks like because Trump is going to meet Xi Jinping at the end of this month for the
Halloween Day, right? On Halloween?
Of course, it's not following Halloween. It's for the
APEC.
APEC meeting in South Korea, right?
Right.
So now, because they're going to meet over there, so basically, I think that they want something from Trump. So they absolutely want something from Trump. So that's why they
Video chips.
I don't know what it's they always want something. I don't know. Wherever it is, basically.
A little parenthetical here, if I might.
Mm-hmm.
It always seemed to me that the Chinese people were natural born capitalists.
It's true.
They love doing business. They love making deals. They love finding the ways to get the most from the least. And so that's always part of any negotiation, especially with Xi Jinping. He knows what he wants, and at least we have somebody that's actually bargaining with him now instead of just giving him everything, which is what it seemed to be the case in the previous administrations. What was it Joe Biden said about the Chinese? Come on, man, they're not such bad people.
They're not. China is not eating our lunch.
China's not eating our lunch. So let's just give them what they want and they'll be happy and then we'll be happy too. And Donald Trump is not doing that. So at least we have somebody standing up now. And so this rare earth ban is kind of puzzling because it came out of nowhere really quickly and flared up throughout the world, because this rare earth ban and the licensing of rare earths gives this CCP huge amounts of control over the future of the United States. To me,
Yep.
it was frightening because without those rare earths, all of our modern times stuff goes away.
It's true.
And they own access to the rare earths. So I can see how Trump, flipped a circuit breaker on that one and immediately came out with 100% additional tariff. So this is a real standoff. You can't have rare earths, and we can't have rare earths, and China can't have technology. So that seems to be the standoff to me. Maybe not, but at any rate, we went to the edge with it, and it appears to be both sides are backing down. And I guess going
I'm
Bissett.
not sure if we back down or even they back down, because they just make little
Yeah,
small talks between Scarbase and Chinese representative, right? They're going to continue to talk about that. They just make both sides feel there are rooms actually still for Xi Jinping and Trump to make a communication in South Korea. I think
pretty much have to offer something, don't you think?
you see, of course, China want our technology, and now I don't know what Trump want from China. Besides rare earth, it seems like there was a lot of things on the table because if without China support, Putin will not be able to continue to fight in Ukraine, right? Is that part of the
That part
negotiation?
of
I
it.
don't know. So there's a for
Do you remember last week we were talking about Trump's three demands that he has on the table to Xi Jinping? And there are three demands that Xi Jinping can never accede to. Demand number one was that you have to open up your country to a free expression of ideas and free dissemination of news. No more putting a throttle on expression by people. Do you think Xi Jinping can go along with that?
if they need something from us, they will say yes, but then they will never do it.
They'll
These
never
things
do it.
these things have been going on back and forth ever since 2000 when we allowed them 2001 actually when we allowed them to join WTO. They promised a lot of things, all these kind of things. They will never do it. They will just give you the empty promise, and the next time when you get angry, they will sit down and talk to you again. They don't care. They're not going to do it. But if they want something from you, they will say yes to everything you ask. And until you realize that they'll never do it, then you all you need to do is just all you can do is just go back to the negotiation table and renegotiate again.
The same thing you already negotiated.
Yeah, we negotiate like more than 20 years about what they have promised when they joined WTO, right? There's everything about, all the agreements, all the conditions they promised before we allow them to join WTO. They never do it.
No. The second thing Trump demanded was that you open your books on your businesses. We want to see real numbers from real businesses. Now, I don't think Xi Jinping is going to sign on to that at all because that's
Well, they promised that before, but they will just never give to you.
never give it to it.
They will drag on the process. Years. They're just not giving to you. They will give you something fake, and then that those companies who issue stock market in in the U.S. market, Wall Street. That's what they say. All these Chinese companies, even private Chinese companies in China, they have several books, right? One book it's for the for the government to check. One book it's for the foreign business, the foreign boss to check. One books it's for the real boss or the owner of the company, and there's a dedicated book, also another dedicated book for the wife of the owner. You know.
I could see that already. Yeah, for sure. They want to know. And then, of course, the third thing that Trump wants from Xi Jinping is free, unfettered access to the rare earth markets. And that, of course, is what Xi Jinping is holding over him at this time. So that is a critical state of affairs where we're at because it really sets the stage for the one-on-one discussion, if one happens.
It's true. I mean, let me give you some of the numbers. People don't know why we want rare earths so badly. Let me read some of the things I look for and I found from the internet. So they have this. Modern weapon systems use significant amounts of rare earth elements, with individual systems require hundreds or even thousands of pounds. For example, a F-35 fighter jet use over 900 pounds
Of
of
rare
rare
earth.
earth and in its radar guidance system and electric motor system. And Virginia class submarine requires approximately 9,200 pounds of rare earth. And a Lee Bulk class destroyer,
Arleigh Burke.
yeah, Ali Bulk
Arleigh Burke.
Ali Burke, Ali
Hey,
Burke class destroyer use
good.
about 5,200 pounds of rare earth. See, if we don't rare earth all these great weaponry systems we build, they're going to be useless, like a piece of junk.
There it is. And all of those pounds of rare earth are are melded into the electronics and the computers and the magnets that make for the high-tech world that we live in. And China owns that market now and is using it as both a strategic and a tactical weapon against the United States. So, what do you think the odds of Xi Jinping giving Trump free access to that market is going to be? I don't think so. I don't see that.
I don't think so. I don't think they're going to let it go that easily. I bet, what they're going to do is they're going to come and they are going to say, "Oh, we are going to expedite the permit process. You guys do need a permit, but we're going to expedite the permit process, so it won't be years. It may be, it won't be months, maybe, a week or 2 weeks. So that's what they are going to promise, and then they will get something from Trump, and then later and they're going to start doing that. They're going to drag the long and long and longer and longer. Eventually, it's going to be like a months or even years. So at the beginning, like right after the negotiation deal is signed, they probably okay. They're going to keep their promise for, I don't know how long, maybe a few weeks, maybe a couple months, and then they're going to start everything all over again.
Yeah. So there we go. And one thing we wanted to bring to note, another story that popped up was from Epoch Times, a piece on Peter Navarro and how Peter Navarro, let's see, what I do, and how Peter Navarro really was responsible for the Trump administration fighting back on China's dominance of these rare materials last year, in Trump's first administration. So the world, this from Epoch Times, the world has now woken up to the consequences of China dominating global supply chains. White House trade advisor Peter Navarro says. So do you think that the world has woken up?
Yeah, I think the entire Western world are waking up because they are basically sending letter to every government in the world saying, whatever the product you have, if less than 0.1%, basically that's 0.1% of the value of that product. That's because of it has anything to do with China, the rare earths made in China, then you have to have a permit from China before you even make those products.
And so the rest of the world sees this happening and realizes that it's just not China versus the US. It's China versus the world.
That is correct.
And so this is a weapon pointed at everybody.
It's true. They don't care. See, that's why I think in the way it's good because people wake up.
People are waking up.
Yeah, if they'll never do these kind of things, then there will be a lot of people in the Western world. They were just thinking, China, it's a good friend, and China you have gave us the pandas. China,
We always go back to our panda love, don't we? Because
that's right.
uh and I remember the panda love, because I was studying Chinese at the time. I think it was my last year of studying Chinese, but to see the world go completely gaga over those pandas was quite a scene. And knowing and having observed Chinese behavior for some time, like I said, I came to the conclusion that they're world-class business people and they're making deals all the time. That's what they do. And so it was amazing to watch. So we have a few minutes left here before we go to the top of the hour break, but I did want to bring up this story about the UN making a population prediction for China's population through the year 2020, 2100. Now, when is it? 2600 perhaps. Oh, no, by 2100. By 2100, they say China's population will more than halve to 633 million people. Now, you can always tell when things are going good because things grow. And when things are going good, people have babies and grow, and the country grows and spreads out across the land. But Nansu, that 633 million is half of what it is today. And furthermore, of that 633 million, 52% will be over the age of 60. So China's really going through it, and this population estimate of regression is huge. China's shriveling up.
It's true. Well, right now they already have their population that's age older than 65. It's already over 15%, and the age over 60 in China, that population it's over 20%. So by the definition of United Nations, this is a severe old age population. But however, this age will go up quickly because their one-child policy in the early 80s, and also because the current young generation uh, Chinese people they lay flat. They say we're not going. They have several notes. In their life they say no, no, no love, no marry, no buying the property, and no children. So because it's very hard to find a job, and you got like
No,
every
no,
year.
no, no.
Yeah. Because there's a very hard to survive, and then every year you have 12 about 12 million people graduate from college, and then probably around 20% of them will find a job that actually consider as a job. The
A
most of them.
job instead of a delivering food job.
Yep.
And one of the things that I've seen recently, video of young women taking up food delivery jobs as well. And I guess when you see that, when you see the kids not being able to have children because they can't afford to buy a piece of property that's so overinflated that nobody can afford to buy it anymore, and nobody wants to buy them anymore.
Oh,
So
no,
if
another
you, if,
reason they don't want to buy it is the housing price dropped tremendously. In some of the cities, the housing price dropped like 70% in the last 3 years. And seeing that kind of drop and then seeing no immediately future of housing price going back up, people don't want to buy it, and no job. And you're seeing all the restaurants, the small business close down one by one after another. A lot of foreign business like grocery stores, they are leaving China. They just closed their shop there. They just went back to their own country. So that's just how bad economy is right now in China.
so when you don't see a future, when you don't have any hope, when you don't see a possibility to go out and start your own job, when you can't find anybody that will hire you, when the housing is untouchable, and when everything costs so much and you don't have a job, you don't grow, you don't have babies.
No, of course not. So it become a huge hustle for the young people to, fall in love, get married or whatever. So it just
But
that's
it's
what
too
just the
much work for,
reality.
yeah, for an impossibility. So when the young people can't find work, when they can't have their babies, the country starts shriveling up like an apple drying out in the sun. It just shrivels up. And the United Nations is projecting that China is going to shrivel up by half by the year 2100. And its population will be old people, half old people, who must be tended to by the young people. So that's a tremendous burden on the young people again. So it's a deflationary spiral in population that's really hard to stop.
It's
And they
true. The deflation is something that remember about a year ago when we talked about deflation. Remember there was a joke, the people when the people start talking about the housing price, that the housing market collapse will basically take China's economy to deflation. And Xi Jinping, they make that discussion with Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping should say, "Oh, what's wrong with deflation? Deflation will only make a price cheaper,
cheaper.
right?"
Well,
He
ladies
doesn't
and gentlemen,
understand. He
that that is
doesn't.
the mood in China. So if that is the mood, what is going to come out of the fourth plenum, which is what the CCP is going to say about the future? Stay tuned. We will be right back with that future. Going to be interesting.